What is up, everyone? It is Rachel. Welcome back to my channel. And so today is a very exciting video. In my last video, I went to the library for literally the first time in years, and I was talking about how I used to read a lot as a younger child, but once you get into high school and college, you really just don't have any leisure free time anymore. So now, post-grad, I'm glad I can start to get into reading again, and that is what this video is going to be today. I have had some book recommendations off of BookTube, Book Talk, and so today I am going to be letting you all know, are these popular thriller books worth your time? I have 6 different thriller books here that I found on BookTube. So many people were recommending these thriller books as thriller books you need to read right now, so I read these 6. And so I'm going to split this video into different categories. The top category being 100% you must read this book. It is so good. The lowest category is the thriller books. I don't know. I don't really recommend them, and they just weren't as exciting as the other thriller books. And so, disclaimer for thriller books, definitely including a trigger warning for things like murder, kidnap, assault, things like that. So definitely, if those are topics that are sensitive to you or you don't really want to read about, look these books up online, and then you can see all of these sensitive topics that maybe you don't want to read about, and then you can steer clear of certain books. So starting off in that lowest category, the 2 thriller books that I don't really recommend would be No Exit by Taylor Adams and The Killing Lessons by Saul Black. So for No Exit, this is about a college-age student named Darby. She finds out that her mom has cancer, and so she is driving home to go and see her mom in the hospital. But of course, things don't go to plan, and she gets stuck in this big snowstorm, this big blizzard, so she pulls off to go to a rest stop to wait it out, and hopefully the storm will subside and then she'll get back on her way. At the rest stop, she is outside and she sees a young child locked in the back of one of the cars in a cage. And then this book, it's not really like a, whodunit mystery of who the kidnapper people are, but that is revealed quite early in the novel, and then basically the rest of the novel is, will she survive or will she be another victim of these kidnappers? Sort of a plot like that. And so personally for me, I wasn't really a big fan because, I don't know, I felt like the plot was very guessable. There weren't really any twists and turns or big revelations or big twists, but it really was, can she escape from these kidnappers? Can she save the child or not? And so I don't know, I felt like that wasn't necessarily that exciting compared to the other thriller novels that I read, and I was a little bothered by there's a lot of use of racial slurs in this novel against Asian people and against Black people, which I just thought was very unnecessary because the author could have literally left out those jokes, left out the name of the place, which includes a racial slur, and just called it something else. I really didn't think it was necessary. So yeah, No Exit. I would not recommend it. If you've read this novel, let me know what your thoughts are. Did you like it or did you not like it? Because I have seen this book raved about so much online, and so then I was really surprised. The plot was so predictable. So let me know. I'm very interested to see what your thoughts are on this book. So the next book I wouldn't really recommend would be The Killing Lessons. And so I feel like this is sort of similar to No Exit, where you know who the killer, murderer, bad guy is early in the novel. And so this book follows a few different viewpoints, the detective, a young girl, and then the bad guys. And so after a few chapters of hearing the detective detective's perspective, it'll switch to the bad guys, switch back to the young girl. So this book follows two murderers. They are driving across different state lines, murdering, and then a big thing in each of the victims' bodies, they are putting a different object that correlates to a letter in the alphabet. So like J for jug, M for monkey, and they are leaving those objects with the victim. You also have the detective's perspective, where the detective is trying to figure out this case. Who are these people? Where are these people? We need to catch them. So for this book, I wouldn't really recommend it. I felt like it dragged on, and I don't know, maybe it was the switching of perspectives, but I just found this book to be so easy to put down. And okay, after each perspective change, I was like, okay, I guess, I'm done for the night. Let me put it down. Versus the other books that I've read in this category, I could not put down. I was reading so late into the night, losing sleep, trying to finish the book because I needed to know what happened. But this book just didn't have that like page turning effect, and I just kept on putting it down. It took a while to get through it. So those were the books in my not recommend category. For the recommend category, the first book is The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn. So this is the only book that I bought. All of the rest are from the library because I finished this in 2 days, and then I was like, I didn't want to keep paying $10 to $15 for a book that I could read so quickly. But I thought this novel was super interesting. It follows a woman who has agoraphobia, which is an anxiety disorder. So she had a traumatic experience dealing with PTSD, anxiety after this experience, and so she hasn't left her house in a long while. Because she doesn't leave her house to pass by the time she snoops and watches her neighbors, she has just got a new neighbor. She's watching this family one evening, and she sees a woman get murdered in this new family's house. And so it's interesting because the story is sort of confusing in the way, did she just imagine all of these things that happened? Did she just imagine the murder? Or did this murder actually happen? So I thought this novel was really cool because as the reader, you sort of go through the same things that the main character is going through because you read all of the same clues. You're seeing what the main character is seeing. So then it's sort of like, oh, am I making up the murder in my head too? Didn't she have legitimate proof that this murder happened? Or am I just making up things in my brain now? I felt like some parts of the plot were predictable, but I also would say that I think it's attributed to the writing. The author is giving you little clues, little nuggets, so that you as the reader can put the puzzle pieces together to figure out the mystery, which was pretty cool. Next up, we have Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinborough. So this book follows a sort of love triangle with a twist. Sort of reminds me of the pilot episode of Grey's Anatomy where Meredith meets Derek at the bar before her first day of work. Same thing happens here. One of the main character women, she meets this handsome man at the bar before. Turns out she is actually his upcoming secretary. So they're going to be working together at the same place. But twist, the man that she met is actually already married to another woman. And then the book sort of follows a mystery where the wife is saying that the husband is really controlling, he's abusive, but then the husband is saying, no, I would never hurt my wife. My wife is the one with the problems. So it's sort of like, who does this other woman believe? Does she believe her friend, the wife, or does she believe her lover, the husband, who is cheating on his wife? And then there's also some interesting stuff about lucid dreaming. I thought this book was interesting. It's a little bit slow at the start for me to get into, but I think it makes it worth it. At the end of the novel, with the big twist at the ending, I was just so mind blown about how it ended. I was like, oh my gosh. And yeah, it was not something that I was expecting at all. It was wild. So I definitely recommend this book. The next book that I recommend would be Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. I would definitely say with this novel, more of a trigger warning. I felt like the violence was very graphic and very gory, but this novel, it follows two sisters who are now really grown up. They haven't talked in a really long time, but when they were really young, they actually had their eldest sister go missing, but the family has never learned, never heard about what actually happened to this eldest sister. It's a big mystery, so they don't know, is she alive? Is she dead? Was she kidnapped? Did she just run away? Now the sisters are brought back together because one of the sisters' husbands was just stabbed and murdered. That sister is going through documents in their house, their computers, and she finds some things in their documents on their computer that freaked her out, raises the question, was my husband who he says he was? How was he doing these things behind my back? And so I really liked this novel. I would say this one and the next book that I'm talking about were my two favorite ones from this set of 6 thriller books that I read. It was so page turning. I had to keep reading, and it was just so interesting to put all of the puzzle pieces together and realize how messed up these people's lives are because of the actions of the bad characters. And finally, the last thriller book that I read and would recommend would be Pretty Little Wife by Darby Kane. This was also such a big page turner. It follows a wife who thinks she murdered her husband. She stages his body and everything, but then it turns out his body is missing. So it's like, oh, is he still alive? Who moved his body? It also follows in this area there has been a string of missing young women. Is that now connected to the missing, potentially murdered husband or not? The police, the detectives come and try to figure out, did this wife kill the husband, or is the wife innocent? Digging into the wife's background, digging into the husband's background. They have a lot of secrets there that push the plot forward. I just read it so quickly. I needed to know what was happening. I needed to know the ending. So yeah, these are some of the popular thriller books from BookTube that are highly recommended, and this was my review on recommend or not really recommend. Like I said at the beginning of this video, if you read any of these books, let me know your thoughts down below. I am super interested in hearing if you have similar opinions or not. If you have any other books that you think I should read, definitely let me know. I need to go back to the library and return these books and then get some new books to read. If you liked this video, definitely give it a big thumbs up to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos from me. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye!